Davis Potter for joining us on the People Are People, a podcast type thing.
What's going on,
It's
Doug?
not much. It's Friday afternoon. So it's the end of the week and it's the end of a Friday, and I'm sure you're ready for the weekend. So I appreciate you joining us. And I hope I get you while you're fresh.
Oh, I'm psyched. I've been waiting all week for this, especially the questions. I need some gotcha questions. In here, we saw the original list, but this will
Okay.
be a great one. And it's beautiful out down here in Sarasota, Florida. I can only imagine how it is where you are in right outside of San Diego. But yeah, I'm
No,
I'm looking forward to this.
I'm up in Santa Barbara.
Or Santa Barbara, Santa Barbara.
We're probably experiencing the same weather phenomenon, which is just marine layer this time of year. So May and June are typically pretty overcast until the afternoon, and then the sun comes and burns it off. But it's late in the afternoon and the sun is still not out here. But we'll get through it. But you said you were in Florida. That was going to be a question I asked towards the end. Florida's a new base for you. Where are you? How's it going? Where are you? What brought you to Florida?
So for those that have been following the journey for the past couple of years, you're probably like, I thought he was in Austin,
Yeah.
or he went to Sarasota and then he went back to Austin. Now he's back in Sarasota. What's the deal, Davis? So I grew up about an hour outside of Boston in a small town called Windham, New Hampshire. Grew up there, spent, my college years in New Hampshire as well. Ultimately couldn't take the winters anymore. Had a job that actually was asking me to be closer to one of their large headquarters. And so they gave me a couple cities that I could move towards. Austin happened to be on the list. I wanted to move to Austin before that. So it was that tipping point or what really pushed me there. Moved to Austin, spent a couple years. My parents ended up moving down to Sarasota, Florida. They're now snowbirds, so they have a place in New Hampshire, small place in Sarasota. My sister moved back here. My younger brother moved back here as well. So I'm just posted up in Austin on an island with no family, and I was gonna see them once, maybe twice a year because I travel a lot and working all the time. So I was just like, why would I want to be hanging out in Austin when I can go spend time with my family? We're really close. And then it also doesn't hurt that we have the beaches and boating down here, which are, obviously some of my favorite things to do. So it worked out really well. And I've been in downtown Sarasota for about 3 or 4 months now.
Cool. Well, you love it, and now you're a family person, and that's really nice. So you're close to everyone. You mentioned to me casually, you said your father was in the software business. I don't know if your mother was as well, but is this where you caught the bug for working in software and specifically B2B?
My dad, Dan Potter, go look him up on LinkedIn. Go connect with him for those who are listening to this. He is undoubtedly, well, one, he is the biggest role model and hero in my life.
Awesome.
And he was one of the, original tech people. He's been in the game for years on years on years. And he was the inspiration for me, actually, one, to get into tech, but also marketing as well. And I'll tell you some crazy things behind both of our backgrounds that line up in a really strange way. First
Yeah.
off, our first car was both Honda Civic. We were captain of our sports team senior year of high school. We both went to the same college. Freshman year, we were both assigned the same dorm, Hetzel, randomly. And then also, we share a lot of the same hobbies. We are in the same space, tech marketing. And so it's just really weird how all that lined up. But yeah, my dad's incredible, and I'll tell you the craziest thing about him that I legitimately do not understand. You have this whole saying where there's a point in your life where you look at your parents and they become more humanized as in when you're a kid, they seem like superheroes. But I've never had that moment with him. I don't know how he did it. He's been a tech executive since he was 30, and he was always present when I was a kid, coached all the games, went to every game, was at every school event, and
Wow.
I legitimately do not know how he pulled that off. So huge shout out to him. I couldn't do it. And so yeah, he's just an incredible person and kudos to you, Dad.
Awesome. I love that. I think it's yeah, it's one like really special and commendable to be able to like be so present with your kids, but also thinking of your father. And I don't know how old you are. I'm not gonna get into that, but like I'm assuming your parents were of an age where remote work wasn't a thing. And I think right now remote work makes that a little easier. So in Flu 2 where I work, we're fully remote and we have this saying where it's like adults only, right? Where like you have to be an adult to work here because we assume that you're going to take care of your own business on your own time. We don't care when you work as long as you get your stuff done. And even this morning, I was at a hike-a-thon for my kids' school, which is awesome because I spent the whole morning walking around a lake here in town with my kids, and I get to come back and continue these conversations. So I love hearing that, and that's great to have a an inspiration in your dad. But so going into your career, so you've always been a marketer, and it looks like you've always been focused on ABM. You just love ABM. Are you like the number one ABM fan?
In high school, I was just like, ABM is where I'm going. Woke up as a kid thinking about ABM. The craziest thing that happened was I knew I wanted to get into tech marketing. And so I applied for an internship at this small software company called B2B Software based out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. My boss, shout out to you, Jen. The first project she had me working on was account briefs for this new thing that they were trying to figure out, which was ABM. And so my first internship project was ABM. Then I transitioned to an internship at a larger organization. They were called Kronos at the time. Now they're UKG. Was doing ABM in that internship. Landed a job at this company called Pegasystems on the regional marketing team right at the time when they transitioned their demand gen function into entirely focusing on account-based marketing. So how I got into ABM, I just happened to get lucky with internship after internship and then initial first job. And I originally thought I was going to get into product marketing when I was first going into this. I didn't really fully understand ABM or demand gen, but just happened to fall into it and then ultimately started a company that is a analyst firm that specializes in it.
Right. And that's ForgeX. You are the chief executive officer of ForgeX. And I mean, tell us a little. I mean, I think some of the folks who might be listening to this have heard of you. If they're in the ABM space, they've heard of ForgeX. But for those who haven't, like, give us a quick one-liner. What is ForgeX? And then why did you start it? What's the goal?
Think Forrester, Gartner, Serious Decisions. We're a analyst firm plus community that really specializes in ABM, how AI is accelerating the practice, and also demand gen, integrated campaigns. And the reason why and how we even spawned on oh shoot, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
so I saw you put I thought you were pointing at the headphones like you
I
couldn't hear me.
I was. I
Um,
lost you for a second, but I think we're good.
oh damn. Okay. Um, initially, so I'll give you a little bit of background on a few components behind ForgeX and how we ultimately landed here. First, we started as community plus ABM resources. And one of the main reasons why our community is free and it will always be free. When I was an ABM leader, I was hired on at the time at this company called Scale AI to build their first ABM program. And there was a company that had a really large ABM community, but it was pay to join. And I inquired with them. They ended up giving me a discounted 5 figure price tag just to get into their community. I didn't want their frameworks, didn't want their research. I just wanted to be able to go in and bounce ideas with other ABM leaders. And at the time, I couldn't even go to my boss and ask for that type of budget request. He would have laughed in my face. And so I was like, this is crazy. We're going to go build our own community. We're just going to do it ourselves. And that's the reason, one, why we're free. And then two, we're really, really strict about pitching and the experience inside of the community. We don't like self-promotion. What we want it to be forever is just a great resource where if you're an ABM leader, if you're thinking about getting into ABM, it's a space where you can go talk to other leaders, bounce ideas, understand what's working, what's not working. We have a lot of free resources from the ForgeX side, such as research and frameworks, and you can access all of that. And we open source overwhelming majority of it. So that's the community aspect. And then the second piece behind this, which is the research and the frameworks and the models, and I'll tell you how we happen to get into that as well. So, ABM, there were a few companies, you have Serious Decisions and Topo, who were both analyst firms and acquired in 2019. So, after those acquisitions to the really large, mega sized organizations, there wasn't a lot of innovation happening on the ABM side. And the tech vendors were picking up a lot of the slack. But the problem with the tech vendors is obviously, for the most part, they're not an analyst firm. Their goal is to go sell software. That's where they get their revenue from. So I started sharing these thoughts and what I was seeing and my perception of how ABM is modernizing on LinkedIn. And then it started really resonating with people. So I created these crystallized, more formalized models. And then we started conducting some primary research because we had the audience and the community to do so. And then it just spiraled into really creating an analyst firm. And we have a lot of great partners. We have a lot of great leaders in our community, a great body of research, kick-ass analysts that we partner with. And that's how we started this ForgeX thing.
That's awesome. I mean, I am in the community, and yeah, and I can attest to the fact that there is, pitching. It seems very supportive, which I'm sure is, your goal. And I'm just curious. I mean, I love the aspect of community building, especially in the work that a marketer is doing and a salesperson is doing. It's stressful, right? Like every 3 months, you have a new number, and then you have other things going on in your life that are, occupying your time and either giving you pleasure or more stress. And it's like, where can I go for some like real help, right? And talk to people. So I'm interested though in the community building aspect. Like how, I think you're almost at about 1,000 members and really solid people to learn from. But how do you, I mean, who was the first member? I mean, I know it was you, but how do you get to 1,000? Like, what does good community building look like? Growing it from zero to where it is now, and then also maintaining a community.
So the big thing that we always had, at least in the back of our minds, was audience. So how do you build up an audience so that that can convert into community members? And it was LinkedIn for us. That was our distribution channel. We've never paid for ads. The entirety of ForgeX's life has been all organic growth. And the pieces behind this were one, how do we share an immense amount of really valuable and unique thought leadership on LinkedIn, which then draws followers to my account. We took a very founder led approach on
Mhm.
this intentionally. And so that then people see, oh, okay, this ForgeX thing, who is this person? He's sharing all of this forward thinking ABM thought leadership. Interesting. Oh, he has a community. Let me go join that community. And so that is almost that flywheel. And then we have an incredible executive council. as well. We do a lot of interviews with people who are brilliant in the space, a lot of events such as community roundtables and webinars sharing our research. All of that acts as a flywheel to add value to people in their day in and day out as they're building ABM or advancing their programs. And they want to go back into the community to one, get the resources, hear what the latest and greatest is, but then also chat amongst their peers. So there's just a lot of value that we're giving, and that is what makes people come back. And also the fact that what we're sharing is unique. As in, if you just go out and try to start a community around XYZ topic, you'll only be able to get so far, at least in my opinion. The way that we've seen growth is really just having, an immense amount of research and all original and unique points of view and thoughts. And that's how we've really built this thing.
That's cool. And there is an application process. You can't, I mean, you are sort of controlling a little bit to make sure that whoever is joining is going to add value and maybe not be pitching.
We look at every person individually. We look at their LinkedIn, one, to make sure that they're not a salesperson, and then two, to make sure that they're going to add value to the community members. And we do take pitching really seriously. If there are if you've been in the community long enough, you do know that there are organizations and people who have we have removed, and we have a zero strike policy on it too. We're pretty strict, as in you pitch one time, you're gone, you're done, no questions about it, and that's what stops. That's what keeps the conversations in the community so well.
And who is monitoring that? I love, you don't have to give me any names or companies, but I love the idea that someone is just monitoring and then you get to give them the boot. I mean, is it just as simple? Like it's pretty boring. Like every once in a while says, hey, check this out. You'll love it. It'll be great for your product, and just you knock them out there. Or who's doing this monitoring? Like, what's the day-to-day stuff? Is it you? Do you have the team that's looking at it, or is the community itself the one that's sort of, keeping the rhythm going?
So we can control the conversations inside of the community. But what we don't have visibility into is when you go into the community, you have access to the emails of all of the members, or you can see all of the members and the new people that join. And so for us, where the community gives us the insights around who might be a bad actor, is when, let's say, an SDR slip through the cracks. They're part of the ForgeX community and they're just going in and spam blasting all of the people and using our name in the outreach. That is an immediate, you're done, you're gone. And they'll share that information with us. And then we will just tell the community, hey, listen, we heard about this happening. They're now removed. We don't allow this. And, we've done it several times, but we try to make sure that we vet everyone so it doesn't happen. But every now and then, you never know.
Yeah, well, I think I've been part of the ForgeX community for maybe 10, 12 months, and that's I've never received an email. I should know. So it's working, but obviously those stories happen. Hey, tell me more about the life of Davis Potter as a CEO. Like, what does a great day look like as the head of this organization?
Great day. Wake up naturally around like a 7:30, 7:35. I'll go and I go to the same coffee shop every morning, Project Coffee in downtown Sarasota. That is where I'll either do some LinkedIn comments or I'll write my LinkedIn post for the day. Maybe there's a really important meeting that I need to use that time for. But that's usually LinkedIn allocation time. Then I have a designated hour every single day, which I call the focus hour. And this is actually for ForgeX team members. If there's something they want me to review, or if there's, a project that they need me to help on block, that hour is all theirs. And so I'll spend that hour, just knocking out whatever I need to. And then usually, depending on the day, it's just back-to-back meetings, either with clients or sales calls or doing things like podcasts like this or hosting some of our events. Uh, Also do a lot of traveling as well for example, we had the user group for Ep.02, which was amazing, and shout out to your team for that. But that's the usual midday, and then I'll go to the gym after work and then go pick up some type of food, whether it's Whole Foods or, eating out at some place. I live 7 minutes from the beach. So I'll go to the gym, get food, usually go eat it on the beach, come back, do a little bit of catch up on anything that I need to for the rest of the day, and then fall asleep maybe around 11 to 12 and do it all over again. That's the usual day.
I love it. There's so the last guest we had on here, the first episode that we published was with Laura Paciano, who was a friend of mine. She's the chief growth officer of a company called TestFit. She also talked about going to the beach. So I've got a theme here now where people are going to the beach a lot. I need some guests that are mountain people or landlocked or in the city somewhere. But that's great. Talk to me about motivation. What motivates you? I don't think you don't look like a strict, I need to make money, motivate me by money person, especially since you're building this community. I'd imagine you get a lot from the benefits that your community members are maybe getting, but don't let me put words in your mouth. I'd love to know more about what motivates you.
So even before launching ForgeX, there are two things that I believe that I need. I think I need resources, and resources most likely being in the form of money, and then influence, as in how can I help uh, organize a group of highly, influential people to accomplish a specific objective. And all of that leads back to what my main goal in life is to modernize the mental health institutions in the United States of America. That's what drives me. It's not, chasing Lamborghinis or chasing, some multi-acre house out in Montana with a private jet. I could care less about those things. And if you look at the way that I live, I'll share a little bit more on that later, but I think there is and the data backs this as well. There is such a massive issue with mental health in the US, and specifically, historically, when you look at the mental health institutions, there were a lot of issues. And then they transformed into more of community-based mental health, but it's totally fallen apart. The prisons are where, a lot of people with mental health challenges are going. And so for me, I think the big rock challenge or the big rock opportunity here is how can you modernize using AI, using other tools now, and bring back stronger mental health institutions. I have, seen it firsthand with family members who have struggled with mental health, and so it's a passion of mine. But this has always been something, especially the unhoused issue out in Austin. When I first moved there, it was really bad, and I've just always had this motivation inside where it's how do I use ForgeX to acquire resources and influence. And I think ForgeX one being we're not doing bad. So there's the resource component there, but then also influence, as in I'm meeting with a lot of executives that are in these great tech companies. So when it's time to really flip the switch, I don't have the capability now because I still have to be 100% in on building ForgeX. But when the time comes, it's how do I use the resources that I've acquired and the influence that I have to go partner with people to actually achieve the modernization of the mental health institutions in the US. I have some theses on this. I'm still working on how to get there, but I also believe all of the skill sets that I've built with ForgeX it's all setting me up for ultimately achieving that goal. And That's a long answer, but and that's probably out of left field for you, Doug. You're like, where is this coming from? But that is the motivation that's been there even before launching ForgeX. That's the ultimate goal.
Well, I mean, it's awesome. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but this is what honestly I was hoping to get from these conversations. And I think now that like, I mean, that's the North Star. I mean, I've always been a fan of ForgeX and yourself and your team, by the way. They're awesome people to work with. But like, I feel like now that you kind of know the North Star of what you're trying to do, you're like, all right, let's continue to support and let's see if we can get them there. And so, uh, Davis, I think we got it. I don't want to keep you much longer. It's Friday. I appreciate what you're doing. But quickly, for people who may not be familiar with the ForgeX community, what's the best way to get involved, reach out, submit their application? Unless you're an SDR, then don't submit
Yeah, don't think about it,
it.
salespeople. But come follow me on LinkedIn. There's a link in my bio as well to our actual community application. So come join the conversation. We'd love to have you. And Doug, this was awesome. Thank you so much. Great questions as well.
Oh, I appreciate it. Well, Davis, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you. See you, everybody.